What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about guitar strings again. This might be the most basic, most boring review ever of maybe anything. So let's talk about GHS boomers. I put them on the guitar a week ago, played them for a week, and basically what I'll tell you is it was the most uneventful guitar string week maybe I've ever had. I put them on there, let them sit overnight. They didn't move that much after I stretched them the first time, tuned the guitar up, played it for a week, and it basically sounded like this. I would say that the tension is pretty much normal. They feel normal. They sound normal. They are not as bright as some other strings that I've tried in the past. But to be honest with you, they're just strings. They're just strings. This is, you know. So, they're strings. I would say that you could tell me whatever you wanted. They're this brand, they're that brand, they're whatever, because I don't know that I would know the difference. They're just that kind of boring and mediocre. But to be honest with you, is that a bad thing? I always say, if guitar strings, if you notice any one thing about them being too bright, too jangly, too this, too that, then they become distracting from the playing experience. These are none of those things. These are just strings that work well. They were stable. They sound fine. They don't last quite as long as some of the other stuff that I've tested in the past. I've actually never spent much time with GHS boomers, to tell you the truth. But besides the fact they don't last a super amount of long time, they're good. And this is kind of the good thing about it, right? Like, I could say, oh, this is a boring string review, but to be honest with you, that's okay. You know, if I were to put these on and say, oh man, they're overly jangly, and then you have to wait 3 or 4 days for them to sound good, that's not awesome. If you put them on and they sound dead, that's not awesome. If you put them on and they're not in tune, that's not awesome. You know, they don't stay in tune. You know, if they feel weird, that's not awesome. But if you put them on and you go, dang, I put a new set of strings on the guitar and I can just play and I don't even have to think about it. And they're not expensive. I mean, is this going to be like a switch? Am I going to switch to GHS boomers? I don't know, because there's some other strings that I like better than these. But I think they're more of the coated variety, and there's some other, you know, kind of other fancy things about it. But if you just want a basic set of strings, I don't know, get in the comments and let me know. Of course, I don't have a ton of experience with GHS boomers. Have you used them, and over time, have you run into a bunch of bad ones or anything like that, or corrosion problems or anything like that? Now, mind you, I've mentioned it many times, I don't have fingers that like corrode strings very quickly. And even with these, with my hands being that way, I could tell that I'll wear them out in a few weeks if I play it every day, or a couple of weeks if I play it every day. So there is that. There's stuff that does last longer. But as far as the tone of them and everything, they're fine. A little bit more tension. I still haven't moved the truss rod on this guitar because I'm still trying to let the strings, you know, tell me what's going on there. So I would say that these are not as low tension as the Ernie Ball Cobalts, but they're not as high tension as something like the Elixirs. So they're, you know, interesting stuff. I think they're, I mean, this is kind of like where mediocrity is a win, you know? To be honest with you, I'm not going to just like, some of these strings I've tried them and I'm like, oh, I don't even want to play them for a week because I can't stand this or that. These are not that. These are just sort of strings, you know? And like I said, I'd probably beating a dead horse at this point, but maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point, that they're just strings. I'll leave a link to all the sets that we're using in this video series in the comments, in the chat, or in the discussion thing down there. If you want to try it along with me, you're welcome to do so. If you have different experience from me on these, let me know. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next video.